I'm an executive. U.S. redeploys long-range bombers to the Korean Peninsula. A supersonic B-1B has taken part in the South Korean drills in the wake of the North's latest ICBM test. And they're planning on just kind of keeping them around over there, at least for the time being. A few of them or something. They're super fast, really low altitude if they want to be, but otherwise they can carry quite a payload. They're very, very capable bombers. To my understanding, at least maybe back when they were first built, but the engines, each one is the equivalent of an F-16 engine. It's the same engine as the F-16. It's got 4 of them. So cool. So cool. Anyway, yeah, they've been screwing around with South Korea and their the F-35s and all that stuff. So yeah, we've got a joint thing going on. We've got a lot of troops in that area. Just, I don't know, coincidentally. Also recently sent a bunch of B-52s to Australia. We've talked about that before in the past. Just, again, interesting data points. And a lot of you guys probably watch Monkey Works on a regular basis, and you realize that there's a lot of weird movements that are happening. And, he's talking about the ones that are visual, visible, that you can actually see. The real stuff they're hiding. These B-1s, I'm pretty sure, weren't showing up on anyone's radar. Now, the whole Twitter thing is interesting right now. Again, like, I've even thought so far as, like, I'm open to the idea that, who knows, maybe Trump's like, all right, if you can get Twitter fixed, Mr. Musk, then I'd be willing to come over there maybe and, screw truth, right? Like, it's okay. I lost some money, you lost some money, whatever, even though it seems really unlikely that Trump's going to be willing to lose money considering everything he's been through. But what's going on with Twitter right now is phenomenal. It's fascinating. It's incredible. He came in. He shook things up. All these snowflakes got butthurt, commented weird things to him on Twitter, fired. All these other people, you're going to have to do this, this, and this, or else you're not going to be working here anymore. And if you don't respond to me by this given time, then consider yourself let go. We'll be in touch with you. And so he's thinned down the ranks a lot. And the people he's gotten rid of are the people that really probably, in all honesty, weren't doing all that much to help the company. Or maybe we're sitting on some of these boards, or someone even went so far, I think her name's Lauren Chen. I think it's Lauren Chen. She's pretty funny. She's awesome. She was talking about how it's like they paid people literally to remove people from the platform. And she equated it to like Coca-Cola having a member, a group, and their team. And their sole purpose of the team was try to take away Coca-Cola from people that had it, right? Like, you have Coca-Cola, I'm taking it from you. And I'm paying someone to remove my product out of their hands. It's really a weird thing. So a lot of people are paying attention to this. I mean, initially it was like, well, yeah, you can totally kick you off the platform, Republican, because it's a private company. I mean, even though it's technically public, but whatever. It's still sort of private, right? It's not the government. And now all of a sudden it becomes legitimately private. Like, a dude owns it. His name's Musk, and I think he's got some other investors, but whatever. A company, some shell company, whatever the hell, owns it. And now all of a sudden they're like, well, wait. You can't. And so it's just funny to me how this is playing out. And then, of course, there's people that are like, oh my God, Twitter has to survive. It's the bastion of free speech. And that's true, I guess. It should be. And then there's truth, right? And like, well, this thing's taken off, and if Twitter really does come down, then where else are you going to go? That would cause truth to blow up. So it's interesting times. How does this play out? What's going on? Elon Musk's playing a lot of very, very interesting statements that he's making that people are taking, I think, incorrectly in some cases. But Libs of TikTok shared this, but who decides what a hate tweet is? I'm going to give an example here in a sec, but new Twitter policy is freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. Negative hate tweets will be max deboosted and demonetized, so no ads or other revenue to Twitter. You won't find the tweet unless you specifically seek it out, which is no different from the rest of the internet. Which, in my opinion, if you do something that's hateful, whatever that might be, and I don't think it's a good idea, but whatever. But I get it. Like that, yeah, all right, whatever. Like if you say something horrible, who's to define what horrible is? That's obviously the big question. But where the problem is when you start to get examples of what horrible is, which I will give in a moment. Now, as a reminder, he did, this is sort of out of order, I think, but whatever. Kathy Griffin, Jordan Peterson, Babylon Bee, they all got reinstated. Trump, they're waiting on. We got a poll about that. We'll get into that in a second. Now, Jordan Peterson, he's reinstated on Twitter, and he's immediately calling for mandatory digital ID and end of anonymity, which is just insane to me. I love Jordan Peterson, or at least I used to. I don't know. He's been saying some pretty crazy stuff. This is one of them. He's said the same thing a bunch of times. And he's a brilliant man, and I would hate to have to argue this with him, but whatever the case is, there's absolutely no way I want to support a digital ID. And maybe it's just his Canadian brain coming up with this, but a digital ID is the same thing as having a digital passport, which requires, right? That's like the whole idea of kind of marking yourself or identifying yourself in a way the government can watch you everywhere. The bank account gets tied. Again, it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just my paranoid brain. I'm sure there's a lot of you that are not nearly as crazy. But I like anonymity. There's a lot of crazy people out there, and it bodes well to sometimes try to give yourself a layer of protection. It's just a layer. It's all it is. Reinstate former President Trump. Elon Musk puts the tweet out. I believe the tweet is over at this point. It's still 3 hours left. Still 3 hours left. We've had 13 million votes. Not bad. Now, some people have said, well, Musk only has so many followers, and they should be able to do polls for country or polls by the entire platform. And Musk agrees with that. He thinks it'd be cool. I think he was one of the people that talked about how it should be able to be by country, which would be very cool if you think about having a platform where you literally could poll an entire country, at least a lot of users, and say, hey, what do you think about this, and find out. Now, it's dangerous for the deep state. It's dangerous for anybody, really. But he's asking, should we reinstate former President Trump? 13 million people have voted so far. I mean, earlier on, it was leaning pretty 2/3, 1/3 to Trump should be reinstated. Right, so we'll see. I have to log in to be able to see it. I think I have to actually vote to be able to see it too, which I'm not doing either. Hey, I voted for the thing, all right? I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it. Not yet. Anyways. Fascinating to watch Twitter Trump poll is what Elon Musk is talking about. Trump poll getting 1 million votes per hour. The bot attack is impressive. Now, this was one of the things that really jumped out at me as I figured this was probably part of why he did the poll. Think about it. Almost everybody, because there's so many of us that would rather have Trump back on than all the crap they've been doing. And I don't just mean Republicans. I mean a lot of independents and probably a bunch of Democrats. But the deep state can't have that visible. They don't control Twitter. They can't pull back reach. They can't control those types of things anymore. But what they do still control is a lot of the bots. Now, most people, when they thought of bots, thought they were internal to Twitter. No. You can write code very easily that can take a whole bunch of Twitter addresses and spam out messages. And some of them you can even get so far and smart, and they do it, where it's able to look linguistically at certain people or just find all sorts of people and just put weird spammy comments in their thing, and it gets people all fired up and pissed off. And again, there's a lot of ways bots can mess with stuff. But affecting a vote, for sure. They'd have to. Or if anything, they'd use bot accounts. They'd write a special program to do it. Either way. But they'd do it. And he'd be able to see it, because a majority of the no votes aren't going to be bots. Period. Just how it's going to work out. So he knew that was going on. I feel like that was part of it. Says bot and troll armies might be running out of steam soon. Some interesting lessons to clean up future polls. He's learning. It is kind of almost weird, like Musk has become sentient. A lot of people talk about him in strange ways. He talks about how dangerous AI is. It wouldn't surprise me if he was like a friggin' android or something crazy. But anyway, whatever. Having fun today. It's Saturday. Twitter with 7,500 employees, this little itty-bitty parakeet-looking thing. The spaceman took my lunch and hurt my feelings. Twitter with 50 employees. Buckle up, bots, because you're next. Right? He's all, yeah, I love it. That's just cool. Got to share these things sometimes. Hey, you know what? I talk about it. I'm going to keep talking. Trump talking about it, too. A.G. Garland names Hague War Crimes prosecutor as special counsel to investigate Trump. Now, this, I mean, yeah, they're getting a special counsel. They're going to look into whether or not Trump broke the law on January 6th, right? Whether he incited violence. But I can't help but appreciate the coincidence. This dude, Jack Smith, he's a special prosecutor. His resume includes chief prosecutor at The Hague for Kosovo war crimes, and he served with International Criminal Court on war crimes. Doesn't it sound like he would have experience for someone that could handle war crimes for Ukraine? As an example, it's just an example, just coincidentally. Or possibly help in any sort of future prosecutions of war crimes against members of our potential government, and or maybe possibly, if I'm really lucky, there to sort of help with that, and this is the public way they're showing it to us. Again, folks, this just doesn't quite seem like what they're presenting. I don't know what the truth is. It could be exactly what they're saying. I doubt it. This is more than that. But what? Help me out. Like, you guys talk about it. Like, let's figure that out. I think there's more to this. Maybe I'm crazy. This guy's like saying WTF, which it'd be like, for me, it'd be like WTF word. And I'd just say it because, that word is just so beautiful. Donald Trump talking about the fact that they're going after him now. He actually did a little speech. I think it's about 5 minutes, but it's Donald Trump talking. The audio issues that exist are not me, okay? That's this. I'm assuming whatever. They had a little bit of feedback or something. I don't know what was going on. He's got a bow tie on, so I don't think this was like a typical place he'd do a speech, but whatever the case is, check it out.
Before we begin, I want to address the appalling announcement today by the egregiously corrupt Biden administration and their weaponized Department of Justice. Would you like me to talk about that? Larry, would you like me to talk about that? I've done nothing wrong. They participated in massive criminal activity with many other nations. And one day after House of, what's happening, you take a look at what just went on with this election, which is so important because the House Republicans announced they were going to investigate the Bidens, and the Justice Department announces right after that they're going to investigate Trump. And it's not a fair situation what's going on, and I guarantee you they get a fair investigation. This will not be a fair investigation. But again, I thought this was all done or very close to being done. These people are corrupt, and yet they go after innocent people under the guise of legitimacy. Over the years, I've given millions and millions of pages of documents, tax returns, and everything else, and they have found nothing, which means I've proven to be one of the most honest and innocent people ever in our country. Larry knows that. They got everything. Millions, think of it.
I don't feel like he won anything on this particular round of Jeopardy. This is the audio daily double, apparently. So again, yeah, they're going after him. He knows it. I don't know what else we as people can do other than make noise, right? Like, this is stupid, but we've got to be peaceful. We know they're wanting us to get crazy. They want us to run out on the streets and be this thing they keep blaming us all for, but it turns out 99% of the time it's their people doing crimes that they're trying to pin on us. Keeps happening over and over and over. I mean, DePape, please. He's a Trump supporter. He just started a website literally the day that he went out and did this crazy thing. Like, first off, I want to know how that MK Ultra session happened. Like, how'd they friggin' trigger him that quickly? That's awesome. The FBI official to be deposed over big tech censorship laws. This is going down. It's the FBI agent apparently out there in the San Francisco area, right? Terry Doty, I should say, has ordered the deposition of this individual. They tried hard. Elvis Chan's the name. Has to do with the censorship and the fact that they had an immediate, kind of government talking to tech, yada, yada. So this is still moving forward. The government's tried to stop it. They're not able to. Again, there's a war going on right now. What we're being shown and what seems to be going on behind the scenes, and I'm not talking about the stuff, the crazy stuff. And again, I want to believe some of the crazy stuff, but there's a lot of, like real raw news type stuff that's running around out there that, I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not. It's like impossible to verify. It's impossible to verify. A lot of this stuff we can kind of verify. They're doing stuff right in front of our face and just telling us it's something different. Lying eyes, baby. Ray says the FBI is investigating outrageous Chinese police station in New York City. Here's the problem. Here's the problem in my mind. I hope they are, because we've talked about these Chinese police stations that are popping up in all sorts of weird places. England, Canada, here. I think just like a couple weird places here. New York being the only one I recall off the top of my head being called out. Maybe Massachusetts, but here, Chinese police stations that are supposedly keeping track of their own people, right? So the FBI is looking into it. Do you feel even that much better about that now, knowing that the FBI is on it? I don't. And I'm sure there's some good people in the FBI. Don't trust leadership of the FBI at all. Zero. You failed. You failed us in so many different ways, FBI. It's unfortunate. I wish you guys would get better, rather than getting mad at me for pointing out how much you suck. Biden's climate agenda benefits communist China, not the Americans he supposedly represents, and that's true. They're trying to get us to pay for all this stuff. I think I've got this slide at some point where they're trying to hit up John Kerry for some money for all the climate change problems that have happened in the world, and how the United States and other Western leaders should have to pay for it all. And somehow John Kerry is like crickets. He's like, where did he go? Did anyone see John? Anyone just see his jet, his friggin' 737 or whatever, the 750, whatever the hell he flies around in, just full afterburner, even though it can't. I know, but it's funny for the sake of the, wasting fuel. There's people out there like, dude, 757 cannot do afterburner. I know, they're different turbofans, different engine. I know. Just have fun with me once in a while. Sometimes get out of your own way a little. Make believe. Play with your children. Have fun. Yeah, green energy policies. They're making us do it, not China. That's the point. That's all. I don't really want to read all that. You get the point. I saved you a bunch of time. That's really what happened there. Paul Weiss drops ex-FTX CEO Bankman-Fried due to conflicts. Paul Weiss. Yeah. What was this Paul Weiss said Friday it stopped representing embattled crypto mogul. She's like, yeah, we've got a difference of opinions, conflict of interest. You don't have any money, and we need money to keep representing you, sir. So yeah, they said we informed Mr. Bankman-Fried several days ago after the filing of the FTX bankruptcy that conflicts have arisen that precluded us from representing him, namely money. I'm guessing. I'm just allegedly. It's a friend, anonymous source. I'm totally kidding. I don't know. I made that up, but it makes sense. It's probably what it is. And I'm sure that someone at the company's like, dude, duh. Right? Now, interestingly, Elizabeth, everything's got a little bit different variant to it. It's not even close to what you thought it was. And then you got to take that all in, and then you got to like refactor life with new rules. And you'll be like, oh, dude, it changes your entire reality. It's cool, but it's hard to get to that point. Reports questioning Biden's push to install e-car chargers at gas stations. If you just kind of think about for a second how stupid that is, and funny, but the reason they're doing it is because they want to have more numbers. Biden's administration is desperate to have numbers. So what's the best way to do that? Punish the oil companies that are still actually doing a good day's work. Punish them and make them pay for these stupid chargers that no one's going to use. Because who the hell's going to go to a gas station to charge their e-car? You're going to do it at home, or you're going to do it at one of those supercharge stations somewhere. Maybe some of these stations might get to take advantage of it. But from what they're also saying, the profit margins on this is stupid small, right? So again, it's just another example of the Biden administration being redonkulous. John Kerry is missing in action for the money. I told you guys about that already in my many rants and ramblings. Target takes extreme measures to in desperate bid to stop shoplifting. That's interesting. You had to figure this was coming. They do call it shrink or shrinkage. Typically, it's related in a lot of cases to internal theft more than external theft, but things have changed, it seems. But yeah, $600 million a year in, quote, shrinkage. And that's not going in the pool when it's cold either, I'm telling you. It's a totally different thing. Paul Pelosi opened the door, had brief conversation with officers before the attack. It's just weird how this won't go away, and I don't want it to. And it popped back up in one of my little places, so I'm letting it pop back up with us. Life Dark Star hypersonic engine fires a ramjet. This is just cool, and then I'm going to get to the song here in a second. But for all you geeks like me that like motors and engines and like the SR-71, we're going to talk about it in a second. But ramjet and an actual normal afterburner changing mid-stroke. So you've got turbojet going on, and then a ramjet kicks in. And so this is the afterburner right here. It's a square or rectangular exhaust. This is very cool. Check it out. Okay, admit it, that's cool as hell, right? That's cool as hell. So that'll get you up, I think, to about Mach 5, but still really, really cool. And just to geek out a little bit more before we get to the song and close out the show, a lot of you guys may know this, some of you may not, whatever. This is the first engine that we just saw that's actually able to convert from Scram to Ram. This one kind of did it, to my understanding, too. But what it also had to do to get there was these cones in front of the engines literally would move in and out depending on the speed, and it affected the actual shock wave that hit the energy. If they left them out too far, the shock wave was so big that it would like miss the energy, or it would ripple past it and it wouldn't get the inflow, right? So literally, it was one of the first ones that really started playing around with the geometry of the plane while it was flying, which is just fascinating stuff. Anywho, I love you guys. More keeps coming. Again, I danced around a little bit today. I don't know what's happening. I don't think any of us should, but I do think we should stay very awake and aware of what could be happening, what might be happening. There's a lot of things that are right in front of our face that are not what they're telling us it is, right? What it is, I don't know, but it's not what they're saying it is. And we've got to get better at noticing those moments because there's a lot of it happening right now. There's a lot of weird stuff happening right in front of our eyes. And they always told us, oh, we'll tell you when it's going on. I don't believe that. I kind of think some of it's happening right now in front of us. Again, I don't know. Just stay open, stay crazy. Because here's kind of my point, and this song really ties into it. This is Tommy Shaw doing a live version with this like high school orchestra or something. They're amazing, amazing kids. But doing the song Fooling Yourself. The angry young man, and I think to some degree a lot of us have been very pissed. And I think we need to understand that we've got to be a little smarter about how we look into the world. And I'm not saying we're fooled. I'm not saying we aren't. I'm not saying we are. But I think a lot of us need to understand that there are times each and every one of us has been fooled a little bit. And maybe there's some shenanigans going on in front of our eyes. We'll see. We'll see. Stay strong. I love you guys.